Good morning. Welcome, everyone. It is August 27th. This is the Broadwater County. This is actually a general business meeting. So we will go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join us. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Same ground rules apply with the civility clause or the open meeting policy. We do follow Robert's Rules of Order. The purpose of this policy is to ensure meetings to all citizens and adhere to fiscal and fiduciary responsibility requirements. Our meetings are recorded and on YouTube, so please state your full name prior to any public comment. Any separate conversations need to be removed and outside into the hall. Outbursts will not be tolerated. Every person who wishes to speak will be given initially 3 minutes to do so, and all comments should be directed to the board chairman. With that, I am going to start with public comment this morning, and though it is not on the agenda. Is there any public comment? Public comment. All right. Nicole Brown, planner, community developer, policy for county newsletter decision. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Since this is short and sweet, I thought it might be best if I wrote it aloud.
Okay.
Just getting it cold.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome. There you are, ma'am. So this is the Broadwater County newsletter policy. The intention of the Broadwater County newsletter is for information sharing purposes only, to inform the public of Broadwater County matter and Broadwater County employee activities. No content which may be considered slanderous or unsavory will be allowed for inclusion. The newsletter committee shall consist of 3 to 5 Broadwater County employees. Only content submitted by a Broadwater County department head shall be allowed for inclusion in the newsletter. Only nonprofit organizations shall be considered for inclusion and or add space in the newsletter. The newsletter will be printed 4 times per calendar year, every 3 months. At the end of 1 year, this policy will be revisited by the newsletter committee and the Broadwater County Commissioners to determine whether or not to continue publishing the newsletter for subsequent years. If, at any time during the initial year of publication, the Broadwater County Commissioners desire to eliminate the county newsletter, they may do so by majority vote at a regularly scheduled Broadwater County Commission meeting.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions for Nicole?
I don't think so. She laid it out pretty good.
Franklin?
Other than put some extra work on you.
Right.
You're used to that, though.
Yep, and it's okay. Yep, that's all right.
All right. Any comments, any further comments from you, Nicole?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I think, you know, maybe as we go forward, it's a policy, so it can be changed by coming to the commissioners. If at any time, maybe after our first publication, we decide as a committee, you know, we really want it to go this direction, we want this to be included, we can always amend the policy. But I think I kind of kept it open and fairly vague, just to try and allow for what our intention is. I think that's the biggest thing, you know, so that we're not trying to, we're not selling ad spaces, we're not doing anything other than getting Broadwater County employee information out there.
Did you get any more information on that bulk mailing or any more on cost?
I did not, no, I have it on my list of things, and I'm hoping to get to the post office today. And just adopting the policy certainly doesn't mean that we'll move forward with the newsletter. I plan to come back to the commission once I can get a committee put together, and we can all have a chance to visit, and then I can come to the commission. I don't want this to be a project led by me. I certainly want it to be a group effort, so.
I respect that. I think that's a great idea.
I do too. Good luck.
Thanks.
You'll do great.
I think it'll go over well. I'm hopeful.
A good way to inform the public.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So do we have a motion on the policy?
So moved.
All right, second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to sign the Broadwater County newsletter policy. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I'm signing my copy. Can I get another?
Of course you can, I have extras, yep.
Very good. What is it today, the 27th? Wow.
I know, gosh. And with this, this is not for action, but, as you know, I'm a 32-hour-a-week employee, I think, through my budget process, and the way I proposed it coming forward, you know, with the community development position that I'm hoping to get to keep it between 32 and 40 hours a week. I don't wanna work more than 32. If the work necessitates, I can put in more time, certainly. With kindergartner today. Oh my goodness. I plan to,
Makeup looks
I,
good.
you know, I got my glasses on, I just put my glasses on and walked out of school, it's fine. But I'll be changing my hours, my office hours. I plan to work from 8 to 3:30 Monday through Friday, or 8 to 3, just to try and keep it as close to 32 as possible. But there's really no point in having Fridays off to be by myself anymore. So I'm going to flex my hours to coordinate with kids' school schedules. Do you see any issues with that? I mean, obviously, if the public has major heartburn with that, I can switch back, but I think as long as I keep my 32, then all should be well, and if I'm getting all of my work done, I'm hopeful.
I just asked that you put a sign on the door that says.
Definitely. Yeah, because it is gonna be a big change for the public, you know, that are used to me
Yeah.
being here, you know, at certain times and, or not certain times, so yeah, I'll do that.
Any questions further for Nicole?
Mhm.
All right.
Did I give you your copy?
Oh, thank you very much.
I don't know if this necessarily needs to be recorded. I was anticipating just putting it in the file since it's not a resolution, it's not an ordinance, it's simply a policy. Any other policy I've just kept in a main file in my office. Is that suitable?
I
You
think
just
that's
follow that
okay.
process, okay,
Yeah,
great.
no sense changing it now. All right.
Excuse me?
I'll ask in just a minute, Cheryl. So, thank you very much. Are you coming back for the, or staying here for the? Okay. Yes, Cheryl.
What's the anticipated date for the first issue?
You know, I was hopeful to have it out in October because that would make our quarters very easy to follow. I'm still going to hope for sometime in October. That just depends on how rapidly our committee can get together, how quickly I can get information from department heads. So, I'm going to be optimistic. It could be October 31st, but October.
Before we get into our 10:30, I do have a little bit of mail, but I had a quick question for you guys from a topic on Monday's agenda, which was the 2015 county budget decisions. We forgot to add the safety budget fund. Debbie is researching what fund number that needs to be, but we agreed on the Wednesday prior, a week ago today, to put a compromise $7,500 into that fund. So I think we need to add that from that previous last Monday's agenda to a decision today so that Debbie can follow through on that for the budget.
Want a motion?
Yeah,
So moved.
all right. Do we have a second?
Yeah, we already decided that.
We didn't vote on it. We just
No,
need
we
to
didn't
vote
vote
on
on
it.
it, we already
It's
decided.
been moved and seconded to set up a Broadwater County Safety Fund with $7,500 to start, to be reevaluated next December. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, and again, for the public, once this gets going, once it is initiated, it will pay for itself in savings from our insurance. We've got to start somewhere because we haven't had one to speak of in the past, so. The other question I have that we haven't talked about is the contract with Michelle Quigley for our HR services. She is, and I'll share this with department heads here shortly, but she's planning to come here in September and get started. Do we want to set up a fund for that as well?
I think you're gonna need something in there.
We're gonna have to pay her something.
Mhm.
So, any thoughts on how much to start? We do have a personnel fund already. So we could just use that.
And how much is in that?
Nothing. Because we haven't had, we were using Jim Nyes for a specific contracted purpose. When we didn't get him to work for us, we had that 6-month lag. Now with Michelle on board, now we have to readdress having a fund. But he was paid for out of the county attorney's budget.
So now tell me, how often will she be here?
The plan that we talked about with her was potentially twice a month. Once to visit with any employees who want to visit with her face-to-face, and the other one is to provide a training. Department head training on hiring, on personnel discipline, on FMLA, on whatever.
What do you think it's gonna take in there?
I don't know. No idea. We can start with the same as the safety fund, 7,500 to start, to revisit as needed, till we figure out what's needed.
That would make sense.
Any other
Yeah.
ideas?
Mhm.
Okay,
You gotta have something fun for it.
okay. We have a second? It's been moved and seconded to set up a personnel fund, also with $7,500 to be revisited as needed. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, thank you. I think that's all of our leftover business.
When did Judy Tice come in?
10:30.
Okay.
We have a letter from the timber products manufacturers, just informational. This is for you personally.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have from the Montana Department of Revenue. This is a letter and informational on a change in taxing jurisdictions and creation or amendment of the tax increment financing district. They had a training on that last week, and our county land use planner and county developer did attend that. Next, we have from the BLM news release. This is guidance on uses of railroads right-of-way land. And informational. Next, we have from the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, environmental laboratory analysis on the water testing done at Silos. And then I have time cards for each of you. And a question. We have the PPACA, and this would be the MACO, is conducting a training on what we can expect and what our obligations are as a county employer regarding the Affordable Care Act. It is September 3rd and 4th in Great Falls. It is free. We do get points against our insurance savings for attending. Debbie is knee-deep in the budget and is not comfortable going. I think until the budget is finished, it's unfair to ask her to take 2 days out to do this as well. There is also a celebration with the Conservation District at the River Rendezvous, and there's also the EWM pulling at Cottonwood on the 3rd. This is also the 3rd. So what I'm wondering is, first is, I sent an email, can one of you attend the ACA training with MACO in Great Falls the 3rd and 4th?
Is that Tuesday and Wednesday?
It's Wednesday and Thursday. If you can't attend both, can either of you share the 3rd, and I will go the 4th?
We can do that.
You'll go the 3rd? Franklin, are you willing to step up and attend?
Use your calendar now.
All right. Training is on the 3rd, so it's on the 4th. Thank you very much, Elaine.
I think it's important for somebody from the county to be there.
It's very important, and again, this will save us money, and that's one of our charges as commissioners, is to save the county money by good management. So thank you very much. I'll throw these to you to read if you want.
Well, I got online and I couldn't pull up the agenda for this.
I can print it for you if you want this afternoon.
Okay.
Okay, next we have the claims. We might as well take care of this now. In the amount of $42,282.17.
I'll make a motion that we approve claims $42,282.17.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to pay the approved claims in the amount of $42,282.17. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Here is a letter from the Department of Military Affairs and regarding the Emergency Management Performance Grant, EMPG. It is an award letter. This was sent to us by Mike Conkey. And we have a commitment letter to return, so we do need a vote.
I'll make a motion that we approve the emergency management performance grant.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded
What's the
to,
amount on that one you read?
24,733.90.
Go ahead.
Right, say.
No, I haven't, I just didn't know
Okay.
which one it was, that's why I asked you.
It's been moved and seconded to sign the commitment letter for the EMPG grant. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Right.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. And I have a letter to the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. This was vetted in full with the commission about 2 weeks ago when Corey Llewellyn was here, who is the district ranger for the Forest Service. So, we already voted, so I'm just gonna pass it to you guys to sign. I'll mail that to Corey to use as a support letter. Thank you. And if you just sign that, I'll put it in the stack of the claims to be approved. Thank you. All right, we have 5 minutes. Anything else for the good of the order prior to our department head meeting?
I don't believe so.
All right. I do have just some worksheets from Debbie.
Are these alike?
Mm-hmm.
Looks like they
And then, these, this one, and department heads, if you guys wanna come up here and grab a copy of this piece of paper, and I'm gonna let the public wait to see if there's any extras. You guys can go after all our department heads have a shot. Cheryl, not yet. You can have some after our department heads.
She's museum.
She's a department head, but we don't have them all here because we're still early. So when we're done, if there's extras, then you can have them then. Otherwise, we can get you copies. But I think it's important, since we have a department head meeting, that the department heads have access to the information for their own departments.
What all would this include?
Let's go ahead and talk about that with everybody here so that we don't have to talk about it twice. And this, of course, was discussed previously at another department head meeting, but it was a couple months ago. One thing for you guys, for the sheet with all the department heads and totals, that is not including health insurance, because that's a totally different fund. That is including workman's comp, PERS, and unemployment insurance, all of which went up last year. Some of the things there, like elections, or some of the grants, they help pay payroll costs. They do not increase, even though you can see they've increased under the .56 and .20 columns. Those are constant, so the hours are adjusted. But some of them do help with deferring cost for employment. PILT has always had a little bit there to help offset if somebody leaves, their payout for vacation and sick leave just for employees. And that's also been in the finance budget, so that one is high because of that. Some of those grants we are not pursuing this year, but those decisions are also being reconsidered, so that's why they're still there. And solid waste is by itself because it's an enterprise fund, not a mill-supported fund. I'll give folks about 4 more minutes to get here. And Judy. Welcome, Corey. Thanks for coming. Hey, Corey, there's a sheet right here. And it's just IT services, and I'll explain that for everybody. Doug, will you grab one of those DIS sheets? Thanks. Hey, Mike.
Hi.
Hey, there's a DIS sheet here for you.
Thank you.
DES, DIS.
This stuff?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No,
Just one.
Just one.
Welcome back home.
Well, thank you very much.
Did you
Great to
fire
be
up?
here. Northern Idaho is wonderful, but nothing like Broadwater County.
That's right. So is it fire under control?
Well, it rained. We got an inch of rain and came home.
Oh,
Actually got more than that.
435.
Sheriff must be in here. I'll behave myself.
It's entirely possible Judy will be late because of construction, so. Is she? Okay, good. Hey ladies, hey Val, there's a sheet right here on, and Tara, on DIS, IT. You guys would each just grab one, it's just informational. Hey Wendy, are you the department head for you guys? Is Carly here?
yeah, Carla's.
Okay, would you grab one of those sheets for you and Brooke? Sure. Just one, I think we're gonna run out, and throw one.
Good word.
I think just Scott and Nicole each need a sheet, and then I think we're good to go. And Mike, where's Mike?
Just Scott and I are the only ones.
You, Scott, and Mike, and there's just two there. I think that's fine. Judy, welcome. Would you like to come on up? And the team.
And the team.
On the agenda at 10:30 is Judy Tice DOR update and department head meeting for the Ray's decision. I wanted you employees to be here also for, to hear the discussion with DOR, and then also we're going to have our department head meeting immediately after that. But this affects all of you, and I think it's important for that communication to have a wide open door. So, thank you very much.
No problem. Actually, we're here just today to introduce a few of the new faces that you'll see. Carrie Friedland is our lead property valuation specialist. She will be working with the team that we've assigned to Broadwater and Marr County, as we're a joint county. Paul Langer is an agricultural appraiser, and he has also been assigned to this county. He was originally assigned for 3 months to come out here and work in this county, so will continue with that plan. Nick Harris is also a residential appraiser that you'll see from time to time. Plus we have 18 other staff that you'll be seeing throughout the county through different times. On September 2nd, September 2nd, we're finally going to start working in our 2015 production year because we're finishing up with our reappraisal cycle. So we're gonna start going back out into the county and start working on 2015 production. So as we're finalizing that process for the 2015 reappraisal cycle, appraisers will start being back out in the county for permits, new construction, those types of activities. So I think our first big day back out in the field will be on September 2nd. We'll be getting with the local sheriff's department just to kind of let them know that there's gonna be a lot of people in your area. And then the property valuation specialist position will be closing in 7 days, so we should be hopefully having a new staff member out here. As you know, Jennifer Bailey had moved on to Virginia City area, so we'll have her position filled within like the next 2 to 3 weeks, depending on, you know, notice and things like that of the staff person who will be hired. We've already turned over our certification of values to you, so we're just going to be waiting on that process until we set our mills on October 6th, or until after you set your mills, and then we'll get those in our system, and we'll get the new assessments out to you. We will be talking with Doug a little bit later about some downloads and getting some of the data for real property assessments that's gonna be wrapping up here. Trying to think, what else is coming up, guys? Anything, Carrie, that you can think of?
We just have the real estate building that's getting ready to go. Have to gear up for personal property, which is the first, and any changes to any new taxing jurisdictions or taxing jurisdictions have to be in writing by January 1st. By law, by MCA, we have to have written notice before we can make any changes.
So we haven't seen any of those yet, so if you have any coming down, we'll work on those when they come through. Paul, do you have anything that you've seen lately in the area of
No, not really.
appraisal?
Looking forward to meeting everybody. Met a lot of people. We proceed forward, whatever, we just, you know, continue to do everything, you know, we can for equitable across the board and different others.
We we had an opportunity to meet quite a few staff members back on the 14th through the 16th, and while Jennifer was here, we had an opportunity to go around and meet Debbie and some of those other staff who walked around and said hi and how are you to a few faces that were here on those days. And as staff have come through, like Paul said, we've been dating and meeting them as we've worked through that. So the team, their office is covered every day.
we've had to readjust our, schedule because we're coming in from Helena, and that road construction has kind of detoured us just a little bit because they're holding us like from like anywhere from 45 to an hour and a half. I don't know, how much is your longest wait been, Paul?
Oh, as far as waiting, I mean, yeah, I think the longest one so far has been about 20 minutes, but
Yeah.
it's getting down there now. Last night I think it was only about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
This week.
So we're leaving Helena a little before 7 every day, and we're shooting to be here by 8, but we've adjusted just our revised, schedule downstairs, just so in case a taxpayer comes in, and we've said that it would be 8:30 to 4, just to make sure that they know that if we're running into traffic issues, that they're not actually expecting us right at 8 o'clock. And so, and as soon as we get that, as soon as the road construction, lessens up a little bit, and Paul's usually here by 8, or shortly thereafter anyway, so he's doing a really good job. We're just kind of, again, dependent on what they're doing out there. It's looking good though, so, that's gonna be beneficial. How about any questions for us?
I do have one. Venus was shared with Mark County. What days will you be in Mark County and what days here?
Paul, well, the staff, we're here in this county 4 days a week. And we have a staff person out in that county 1 day a week. So every day that we're committed to Broadwater County, we have a staff member here every day. We're committed, and that's Monday through Thursday.
Thank you.
We had a department head needing some assistance from DOR on their budget. Can you guys provide us with your emails and phone numbers so that our department heads, I don't know if they were there, before during construction, if they were there on a Friday, if they were there during the transition, and it just happened to be a day that you guys were not there. But we need, some way to get a hold of you when our department heads need it too. So emails would be great.
Sure. We gave Debbie our business card, both Carrie's and mine, and we'll certainly leave some behind on Paul's desk, and we'll even give some to Doug. So, but we've already provided some business cards out there, and we're happy to give you one.
That's wonderful, thank you. Franklin, any questions?
Oh, and the other thing too is our phone number to the Lewis and Clark office is posted right on our doors. So you can call that 444-4000 number, and that's been posted for years, since I started. So the 444-4000 is a number, and then if they don't have an email, they can just pick up the phone and give us a call.
All right, Franklin, any questions?
Basically, the way it sounded is as usual, as it was.
Business as usual, yeah.
All right, staff, any questions?
I'll ask a question since nobody's ever been able to answer it for me. And you guys are the ones that do this, so. How do other counties account for new construction for assessing solid waste fees? At what point in the process does that happen?
Well, when we take and get the new structure onto the property record, once we are aware that there's a new parcel, then we go out and our appraisers go out and field that parcel. And then once they field that parcel, then it gets put onto our property assessment records. And then when we have that information, we upload it and give it to Doug. And then at the end of the year, or when we go into we'll be assigning specials right now. And so as soon as we do that once a year, and the specials are put onto the parcels, they have to be on effective of January 1st. So the new construction has to be there as of January 1st of the year, and then we put the specials on for that tax year coming. So we don't do that as we go type of thing. It's as we put the specials on, and Carrie will be putting those specials on tomorrow. I think tomorrow and the next couple days.
Yeah, I have to talk to Doug.
We'll be working with Doug to get a download, and we really just, that depends on when we coordinate a download with our
So there should not be a building or residence that goes more than, say, 18 months without solid waste fees?
The fees they're assessed once a year, so as soon as if they're on and they're built and they're picked up on it as of January 1, right, they will go on to that assessed notice, so. And Doug will bill for that. So if there's something that's been missed, now that's something that happens, and that's just not synonymous with this county or any county. I think things like that tend to happen. So if we do find somebody who doesn't have await their solid waste permit and things like that, then usually they just contact us and then we do the research and get them hooked up as soon as possible. If you guys in your capacity find something that hasn't been done, if you just let us know, then we can make sure that that is being billed and gets sent out as well.
Well, what I used to get is a list of everybody that's being charged fees, which is fine. That tells me how much income I have coming in.
That would be up to Doug. We don't do taxes, although we put the fees on the system.
But I go talk to Doug's office and they're not the ones that click the box for solid waste fees.
But Doug's office is the one who could generate the report, because after all, it is the treasurer's, they're the ones who bill for it. And so they would know, they would have a role or an ability to give you, and Doug, you could probably speak to that better than I can, because I don't know what you provide to your departments for fees, or if you've done it in the past.
I don't remember doing a report
No, it always came from the revenue
like that
office.
day on a
They
day.
report of, this is who's paying solid waste fees.
Yeah,
And that's fine, but what I don't have is a list of everybody else.
sure.
So I can compare the two to see, is everybody being assessed a fee?
Right.
Because I can go on the computer system today and find a half a dozen residences that are not paying solid waste fees.
And there may be a reason why they don't pay a solid waste fee as well, or it might not, it might be something that they've requested forgiveness from the commissioners, there might be reasons, and I'm not really sure. If they're not on there, then that's an error that needs to be corrected, and then they would have to make a formal request to have those fees waived for, you know, like if it's
The landowner?
the landowner. Because we will put the fees on, and the fees should be there, so if they're missing, then we just need to, we will go back through, and you'll probably see,
People have a problem coming telling them when they're not paying enough.
but they
They
never
have no problem telling them when they're paying too much.
too much, exactly. And so what we will do is, we assess the specials and we'll go back through and we're going through each one of those individually this year. Just because with the changeover in staff and stuff like that, we need to familiarize ourselves with the actual data that's been put in there over the last couple of years. And so we're just gonna, and we're doing that coming into the reappraisal cycle anyway. We are touching every parcel. I don't know, I think we've touched them about 100 times over so far, just in our process. And so we'll be looking at those all over again, just to make sure that everything's hitting line by line. And again, that wouldn't be a report that you would get from us, unfortunately. That's a report that you'd have to get from your treasurer. And because we simply just put the fees on, we don't monitor them and make sure. If they don't get billed out, then it's because we've missed it, and that's an error on our part. And so we should be, and Doug usually, I think if there's an issue with that, he usually communicates with us pretty well about this was missed or that was missed.
If you can give me the list of the 5 or the few that you know that are not
That's what
getting
used to
charged.
happen. If I found one, I would send it
So,
to Jennifer and she would.
right, so just
Actually-
get me that list, we'll investigate it, and if that fee should be added, we'll add it.
Okay.
And we'll take that into consideration this time with Carrie offering that, but that information should be given to Doug. And then Doug will actually communicate that with our staff. Because that way, we're making sure that we're communicating with our treasurer and that we're not overstepping our boundaries. Because it's really the treasurer who is gonna say, hey, you guys messed up, and let us know.
But the treasurer's office doesn't have the ability to click that checkbox that says assign a solid waste fee. And Doug doesn't know.
Well, that's something that we can talk with Doug about, and it could be just a training issue that maybe we could help facilitate between us and the county on just a training level. It could be something that we can maybe help each other with.
Okay.
Because I know in Lewis and Clark County, they do generate reports, and they have the same system. So
We
that
can
might just.
generate the reports, I just can't add the solid waste to the tax bill. That I think is what you're saying, right?
Right, right. And so we're happy to add those if we've made an error. That process is gonna become more electronic. It's going to be more, we do an upload of the fire districts, and that information comes through on a disk. And what we're doing is Carrie and I are going to be working on getting the process so that instead of it having manually done, it actually pulls from the property record cards that we have on file, you know, for real property, and get those uploaded more on a systematic wide scale. That hasn't happened yet. And we're kind of holding off because it's our understanding that you guys are switching to Black Mountain here in a couple months. So we wanna just make sure that we work with the new system and have a better understanding of that system before we start getting crazy with making changes. And so we know what we're doing and have proper training on it. Good question though. And we're happy to work with, we would prefer that you tell Doug that so that Doug would know. And then we will certainly work with Doug through that. And even yourself, it's not a problem for us to work with all the team members, but we do feel that Doug should know that information right at the top of the day too. But that's your guys' call too.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else have a question? A DOR? Last chance, anyone else? All right. What we'll do is give your emails from Debbie and Doug and send out another memo to all of you so that you have each one of these guys' contacts, and then you can work with them as you need to for your budgets. So, anything else from you guys?
Is there anything on the budgets that we can provide for you today? Any of that didn't come out in our certification of values? I guess that's something that we'd like to be able to go research and get to you as soon as possible. Have you had any specific questions for that, or?
Not of me, no. Mostly because I don't know what DOR does. So I don't think they would have asked me those questions. Have you guys?
No.
All right. No, I think just sharing your information with our department heads will be the first step, and then they'll be working with Doug and calling you guys as they need to.
What I will do when we get back is I will send you an email to the commissioners, if that's okay. I'll send you an email of all of our leads, and then Paul is our primary person who's here. And then, like I said, we don't have a permanent PBS person here yet, but we do have a contact who they can call for specific, like look up questions and things like that. So I will just send that directly to you if that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. And PBS, what is that?
Property valuation specialist. That was what
Okay.
Jennifer's position, the technical position. She
Okay.
was called a residential appraiser property valuation specialist. Okay. Do you want us to stay for the rest of the meeting, just in case anything comes up?
If you want to, you certainly can. Yeah, you're more than welcome to.
Carrie and I will stay, and we'll let the appraisers go get working on their project.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and
Thanks,
welcome.
guys.
Thank you.
Now, will you guys be permanent? Carrie, it sounds like you're temporary until the new person comes on board. Will you guys be permanent?
Carrie's
lead, and I'll
permanent,
oversee it. I'll
Okay.
in and out.
All right.
and she's been the lead for the last year. So Jennifer's been communicating with her, and we work with Jennifer and Tracy through our leads.
Okay.
And Wanda couldn't be here today, but I think you guys have met her in the past, but she's
Go to
the
Notre
lead,
Dame.
appraiser. So she'll be in it. Okay. Yep.
All right.
Awesome, cool.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Something else that we had brought.
Gary
I don't
left
know
his
if
hat,
this
that's
is the
fine.
appropriate time to give it to you, but,
Trying to give it away.
we brought, when we had talked about the people requesting distance and things of that nature, it has to be in a written form. I just brought a sample letter of what the other, the commissioners are with us when they're requesting a refund. And I just thought I'd bring that as an example. And we also brought an example of a mill sheet that, they provide us as well. And I think you guys work with Laura, or with Paulette.
Very well.
Paulette.
Yes.
And so this is what Paulette provides to us, and so I just thought maybe that this information would be just, I'll just give you a copy of the mill sheet and a copy of her request. Did you make a copy of this for them? Okay, well, we'll talk, we'll show you that, because that's more on a one-on-one basis type of thing as to what you can expect from us from day-to-day processing. That's just informational, don't even know if you'll care to use it.
Actually, that'll help us a lot. Thank you.
Okay.
This is new for us, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just give us a call, because we're doing little things that, you know, it's always nice, and I think other counties automatically assume that we do it the same way.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you again for coming. This is more than we've ever had. just a couple of things. We've had department head meetings in the past, and I think our last one was last April. Don't quote me on that. But we were talking about computer issues at that one. But I have to tell you, one of the feedbacks that I got from a couple of department heads was, because of the atmosphere, you guys weren't gonna be talking anyway, and so it was a waste of time. So that's why we didn't have one between April and now. We're having one at the request of one of you, and so by the turnout, I appreciate it, and I think it was probably well-timed. So to the one who requested this, thank you very much for your leadership. I appreciate it. So with that, I want to just cover a couple of quick things, and then we're going to get into some meat, and certainly there will be a chance for you guys to ask any questions if you want, or like before, you can always come down and talk to us in the office at any time, or call any one of us at any time for anything you need. One thing we try not to do, and as you guys know, is micromanage you. You guys are the professionals in your fields, and we understand and appreciate and respect that. If we're micromanaging what you do, we're not doing our jobs. So I just want to make sure that that's out there as a solid for you guys to understand. It's not something you should be doing, so feel free to call us on it if you see that happening. The other two things, I'm just going to motor right through these. The other two things is page 46 of the Personnel Policy Handbook, which I know you each have memorized as you are supervisors, states that we are all part of the county team. I think we need to remember that. We are a county team. We have one overriding goal, and that is to do our job for the good of the county and her citizens, which happens to be most of your family and friends. So with that, one of the things that I received last week were 2 calls, and they were regarding customer service. Being part of the county team means also strong customer service, because when the public gets angry because they weren't treated right, it falls on all of us, not just one person. Especially if it's anonymous over the phone and they don't know specifically who they talk to, they don't blame that one person, that anonymous person, they blame the county. And you guys have all heard it, the county. We're dealing with it here, the commission. So it's whatever one does, it falls on all of us. So let's remember we are a team, and customer service for our citizens has to come first. Sorry. The Safety Committee. Brian Hone is the chairman, Mike Myers is the co-chairman, Scott is the vice chairman, and Tammy Rouser and Ann are sharing the administrative assistant duties. The Safety Committee, we need every single department to be involved. For you one-person departments, you can certainly band together, switch coming, share the information, have one person designated. For you larger departments, road, solid waste, and public safety, you guys have the most incidents that increase our work comp rate, so we really do need to have your involvement or a designee at our meetings. The commission needs to start showing up in force, all 3 of us. Again, this is a money saver. One, if we can get those work comp rates down, it will fund itself. Other counties are receiving checks for 5 digits. There's no reason why we're paying the insurance costs that we are, which affects all your budgets, raises for yourselves and staff, and something that we really don't need to be paying. But it takes leadership, and that's what you guys are, is county leadership. So, again, from this leadership to you, we all need to band together as a team and start being actively involved in the safety committee. We have a 0 incident goal for Broadwater County. That is aggressive, it is achievable. Let's see. Budget overview, this is good news. The budgeting changed this year, actually 2 years ago. When the legislature decreased the business equipment tax, I believe it went from 8% to 3%. Businesses won in that they were paying less tax on their business equipment. Counties went to the legislature and said, you are gonna cripple our budgets. So the legislature said, well, the state's gonna infill that 5% for counties through entitlement share. So one of the reasons the valuation went down this year is because of the business equipment tax. Last week, we spent the full day at a regional commissioners meeting and got an earful on this subject. DOR did revalue a lot of the unsold subdivided property throughout the county. This affected us, but not nearly as much as it shows in the valuation. The biggest hit was the business equipment tax. With that, entitlement share went up, so our budget is back to being actually in the positive, and an increase from last year. So, I think you guys need to know that. We were pretty excited to learn that last Friday. The sheets you have in front of you are DIS sheets. We used to use an employee in-house in her spare time, oftentimes her personal time, to provide IT services. Some department heads who had more specific needs called Morris and Merrily to come on a one-on-one basis, which is extremely expensive at an hourly rate. Plus, we were paying them for their drive time, which is an hour plus right there. With construction, even more than that. So last April, we talked about switching to another IT company. The topic was cyber liability. It's a huge issue. DIS was about, I don't know, what, a third of the cost of Morris and Merrily in the quotes, roughly. They have found some networks are down. They've been doing some recabling. They'll be speeding up our service. They'll be making us more efficient with that. We, the commission through PILT, paid for the entire rework, the new servers, all of that. This sheet is what the cost will be per computer, therefore per department. This will be a cost savings to the larger departments like public safety, in that this incorporates so many of the phone calls we'll be making, and it will not be that one-off. County Attorney's Office will also realize a savings here, just because the hourly rate with Morris and Merrily is so high. We didn't have a monthly rate, we do now. The hourly rate was outrageous. This hourly rate, to some degree, is incorporated here, and if not, it is a lot less expensive. So over the year, we'll be able to hold the two side by side and show what that savings was. So, guess we have any questions on that before I motor through? Brian?
Why is solid waste not included in there? Is it because we're not in the county's network? And if that is, why not?
You should be. Doug, do you have an answer for that?
I don't know, maybe possibly just select you, and we can call DIS and have you add it. It's not a-
Well, right now, we're not in the county's network. We don't have any way to talk to the computers and computers other than via email. Right? We're set up to the internet. And road crew's the same way.
And I'm guessing public health?
The public health isn't on here, and we need an IT
In order to
person
get you-
too. I mean,
At least
and I
one.
know we're not in the courthouse, but
Cable and
And it could be, the courthouse had a problem with being a 1935 building, and a lot of our electrical was back to 35, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know that that has much to do with the cable, but I know they're related. But regardless, public health, road, solid waste, you guys, we will find out and get back to you three. You also have full access to DIS for IT services. We'll get you that contact information as well. Anybody else on that particular vote? Okay. Extension, okay. All right, we will have an answer for you by the end of today. And Brenda and Wynn,
What all does this include? I guess is my first question.
Doug, do you have an answer, or does Brenda need to get together with Garrett? I know he's been trying to talk with you guys about some of the specifics. Do you know,
Yeah,
Doug?
and you know, they're recabling all the offices, because I know on the county side, most of our switches and cables failed their test. They said the sheriff's office, was good, we're pretty good on most years. I think they had one switch they had to change, but, what their goal is, once they get everything recabled, is they'll be able to monitor our system from their office and alleviate a lot of the problems that we normally have before they even occur.
Well, I guess the only question I had was, you know, if we're paying $11,310 for them to watch our computer, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, you know. If I gotta, I guess if they're gonna fix it and they don't send us a bill, if that's what this is about, then I'm okay with that to an extent. But if it's just so they can look at it, $11,000 in a year is a ton of money. Just for them, and then to get a bill on top of it.
Morrison primarily.
Well, I don't know, that's the question I have.
We've never been near
Yeah.
that with their time and stuff. If it was a big bill, it's because we bought big equipment, which is expensive over there for us. We're still gonna have to buy the equipment.
I just didn't know if we're
Anywhere
gonna
near
get,
that.
if we're gonna pay $11,000 in maintenance, I mean, as long as if they're fixing things and not sending us a bill because we paid $942 for the month for maintenance, then I can understand that. But if we're gonna get a bill at the end of the day for their services rendered and still pay $11,000 for just a maintenance contract, it seems like no good money after that.
I appreciate your concern, Wynn, that's not the case.
Okay, that was just a question I had.
Garrett has been trying to get in touch with you guys to go over the needs
Yeah.
that he has seen with some antiquated equipment. You guys need to follow through and talk with Garrett.
I haven't been-
He's the expert on this. As far as this plan, some of the bills from Morrison Merrily for both county attorney and sheriff's office has been astronomical. The cost that we're paying for them to just sit in their car is an absolute waste of the taxpayers' money. This is a lot more than just looking at your system. But if they can fix those problems without us paying for them to sit in a vehicle, I think it's at least worth looking into and talking with this guy.
And I'm not against that, I just kind of, it's kind of a very generalized expenditure, you know, here you go, whoop, and there's really, since I've had an opportunity to talk with Garrett and sit down with him, I prefer to sit down face to face with a person, but I never get that opportunity because wherever he's at. But just some further explanation and detail about what's covered under that answers a lot of questions in and of itself. That was the only question I had, then I'll keep my
And as
peace.
it has been for the past couple of years, Morrison Merrily can access ours from Helen. It's only when they have to come down to do repairs or replacement of equipment, computers. The Barracuda, when we had it installed, that's expensive. Those are expensive items. That's why ours were astronomical.
Again, I
Plus it
think
included
for us to
purchase of
debate this
computers.
today is beyond the information we have. You have an email from the commission that you need to, one, talk with Garrett and get some facts on your, the antiquated networks and ASA and some of the other stuff, I'm not sure what it is. I'm not gonna read the email because I didn't bring it with me. But also, this is by computer, you do have a lot of computers in your office, which is probably why some of those bills from Morrison Merrily were so high. So if you could at least talk with Garrett, get the information from him, let him get information from you, and if you still have an issue, then come to us. But we have to have a starting point, we have bills starting to come in, and we need to know where we're at. I know there's a personality conflict there, but you guys need to work it out,
I don't know
and you need to
Garrett, so
get
there's no
some of
personality
this information
conflict at
done.
all.
So go ahead and talk with him, and then if you still have any questions, you can come to us about the money part of it.
Well, to me, it doesn't, for my office, it doesn't show good business sense to pay $11,000 versus what I budgeted in the past. It's almost double the maintenance.
Brenda, if you can get the details from Garrett and then come back to us, our numbers show there will be a savings. But we don't know that yet because we're talking about something we don't know. Talk with Garrett, get the facts, come back to us with a full picture, okay?
Okay, then I'm gonna have to amend my budget that I submitted, because I didn't include this.
Talk with Garrett, get the details, come and talk to us at that point, okay? All right, anything else on that? Dana?
I don't think I really need to even be on it. I mean, I don't do much. I mean, I send some emails, whatever. I mean, I guess I don't see my,
Let's talk about that, because your office would be really inexpensive. You don't have anything now, but if you did have an issue, it really is unfair to use an employee on their personal time. So we'll see what we can do as far as Garrett goes with just the more simple,
yeah, okay.
simple departments, and gives you that information. Yes, Julie?
What, is it go under contracted services? Is that the line item that it goes under?
360.
Debbie?
360, okay.
Oh, okay, you got that,
360?
Debbie?
Repairs and maintenance, okay.
Should be.
I'm not sure off the top of my head what 360 is,
Okay,
but I think it's contracted services.
okay, all right.
360.
And we can send out an
Maintenance,
email
repairs
if
and
it's-
maintenance supplies or something. It's repairs and maintenance.
Okay.
360.
Listed on the sheet there on the last column on the right.
Oh, very good.
So what's the,
360.
it is 360?
That's the object code.
All right, any other questions on that? Okay, yes, Doug?
I don't know if it's really, well, it is kind of a question. Garrett, NDIS is talking about changing our email from the state to a
Thank you.
personal subscriber, which would be a better, faster email. It would be a savings to the county cost-wise. I sent an email request to, I thought I hit everybody, if I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but to get kind of an idea who wanted to switch emails, who didn't, I got 3 requests back. So, that's something we need to know. If you wanna switch emails, it's gonna be a faster email, you're gonna have a higher storage capacity, and it's gonna be less cost to the county.
Can you tell us what
We
the
need
cost
to-
savings would be?
I'll have to check with Garrett and get the exact amounts on it. I don't have them in my head. But he's written me an email on it. So,
Doug, does that include the folks like the judge and Val who are on the state system?
no, the state's
Okay.
a different system. They're not involved with this.
So anybody on the co.broadwater.mt.net, which would also not be you guys, those of you on that, who wants to switch, who doesn't have an opinion, I guess
And
instead,
I don't believe that that's gonna affect our bottom line cost. That's just something that they do.
not on this.
Right, it's not gonna be an additional cost, it's just, it would be a savings of what it would be, but it's not gonna raise our bottom line.
Okay, but it will realize us some savings and better speed. Scott, you're on that. Do you have an opinion? Do you have a reason why you wouldn't be open to the switch?
Not a reason why I wouldn't be. I think I'm probably one of the ones that responded, said I would like to, because I
Okay.
get tired in your busy season where you might be out for a week or something spraying, and you come back and there's 25 different emails, and pretty soon your computer's jammed up. And you're over, I mean, and if you don't go in there on every other week and pull them off and put them in your archives, you're jammed up. And people have a tendency to get mad when you don't answer them back right away on their emails. I think I'm probably one of the ones that responded back, yeah, I want this
Excellent.
change.
Julie?
There's also an issue with the size of the files that you can email. A lot of times you gotta break things down into pieces to email them because the system won't allow that large attachment, so that's a concern too.
Correct.
Who else? Mike?
I never heard about it, so, I'll be fine. No change.
All right. Debbie?
Change is fine, if it saves money.
Okay. Bev? Any opinion on that? All right. guys are on MT.net.
Yeah.
Okay, you're in the crowd that needs that update too, aren't you, the museum? Wendy, you're on, are you on CO.Broadwater?
Yeah.
Do you have an opinion?
You know, for us, we have such a huge influx in email that it would be nice to have extra storage space, provided that it can stay secured in our servers. So that's the only issue that we would have with it, but we would all love to have some extra storage and to be able to save more emails.
All right. Audrey, you're on the state. Tara, are you also, I know Judge is, you are as well. Okay, I'm also on the CO.dot, and we by law shouldn't be deleting any emails, period, and so I keep buying more space. It would save the commission budget also, so, yeah. Mike, you use.
I don't have a
Comcast?
computer. I
Okay.
just use my own personal.
All right.
I'm not on the system.
Okay, Brenda, your staff has the CO.dot
Yeah, we
as
do.
well. Do
What
you want
about
to talk
the-
to Garrett first?
Well, what about, I was gonna ask that, what about the old emails that we've gotta keep? Can we transfer them over? I asked that question in an email, but I didn't get no response.
You can always
And-
keep your old emails, yes.
But if we don't have that site, how do we keep them?
They would probably be archived into the new site.
That's what I was asking
Yeah.
in my email.
And that would be something that I would have answered for you, probably a Garrett discussion for you. But yeah, that's something that's done all the time, so there's definitely answers for that. What it looks like specifically, I don't know, but that would not be a worry. Especially with somebody who's worked with governments as much as they have, this is an issue they've addressed many times. So I think that answer would probably be best addressed to Garrett. Doug, do you have any more on that? Okay.
No, that's why we hired him, because we don't have all the answers. We
Right.
have a lot of questions, so, but yeah, he's worked with the government a lot, and that's why he proposed the change in email, and actually was proposed in, changing our internet provider as well to a faster, more reliable one.
And I didn't ask you guys because you're on personal, you use your personal emails. Oh, Ann, you're on, do you have an opinion?
Whatever Doug says.
All right, wow, good.
Loyal employee.
I sent out a confusing email this morning and got a lot of responses. I sent out a piggyback email on the one with today's memo with Michelle's information. Michelle Quiggery, and let me just say, the people nodding their heads, you're not alone. So I apologize for the confusion. Michelle Quiggery, this was a memo that was sent out some months ago, is hired as our HR consultant. She is a professional HR attorney from Missoula. She's been working with Mako after Mike Sengstad had his accident. She is back working for us. She's gonna be here 2 days a month, starting in September. She wants to meet everybody one day, anybody who wants to see her, and conduct trainings the other day. Hiring, discipline actions, FMLA, whatever it is that we need. So, I attached in the memo her phone number and email. So you guys all have access to that. Please share it with your staff. Anybody who has an issue with HR, call Michelle directly. We have set up a fund, and we will just pay her at a contracted rate that we've already signed for whatever it is that anybody needs. So Debbie will just do administration, and that means letters and files, anything related to payroll. But everything else is going to Michelle, okay? Any questions on that?
You say that's hiring and all of that?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
from this point forward, like when I lay my seasonals off or whatever, I need to send her all of that information.
Yes, yeah. She likes to work via email, couple of taps of your fingers. I know there's a lot more to it than that, Scott, but, yeah. If it's payroll related, if you're confused, you can certainly run it by Debbie or any one of the three of us, and we can direct you if it's Debbie or Michelle. If you send it to Debbie, and it doesn't necessarily belong with her, she can always forward it to Michelle for you too. So, We're not trying to give anybody more work, we're trying to just be more efficient and get the correct information out to people from the official with all the answers first. And then the only other thing that I want to discuss is the big issue. So is there anything else from you guys, any open discussion before we start in on the big issue? Brian?
I will say from the safety committee that the safety manuals have been printed. They will begin to be put in binders hopefully this week, and we will be distributing them shortly.
All right, very
They're
good.
well worth the read.
It's riveting, yeah. Yes.
On the edge of your seats.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anything from the commission before we dive into? All right. As you guys know, we've been working on the budget. Budget is now done in 2 different steps. By law, we'll have to have the mill solidified by the 8th of September. We have the resolution for that. We've solidified the mills. I think we're good to go. The second half, we have until October, the first Monday of October. Correct me if I'm wrong, Debbie? I think so, to have your individual budgets solidified. So we have about another month. Debbie, this is her first year alone doing the budget. I appreciate everybody who has been supportive of her and Doug, both who are still in a learning curve. It takes a couple years. I appreciate your support of these two. I appreciate your working with them. I appreciate your patience. Thank you very much. Debbie and Doug, you two have done a phenomenal job under very difficult circumstances, and I salute you both. With that, we have a higher entitlement share. We do have a lower valuation, so do most counties in the state, or at least in our region, it was 100%. So you add the two together to get a more firm picture. In the past, valuations were very important because it determined elected official salaries and your class of your county. We don't do anything, the state doesn't do anything with classes of county anymore, so it's not really that important. And I think that's why it was so easy for the legislature to determine the entitlement share to infill the lost business equipment tax. So with that, the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, guaranteed unionized employees 20 cents per hour per year as a raise. The Me Too clause does not only work one way, it works 2 ways. And that was discussed heavily during the negotiating time with the union, that should unionized employees get 20 cents more per hour, so would everybody else. So the starting point with raises is 20 cents per hour. We had a discussion last Monday, and there was a slight error in the discussion. And accidentally, the addition to the budget for a 56-cent per hour raise was a 56% per hour raise. Yeah, so the number was a little bit shocking. We came up with 56 cents in the county compensation board meeting. And I say we, it includes 3 members of the public, 3 elected officials, Doug, Val, and Brenda, and then it includes the county attorney and then the 3 county commissioners. So what we did is we took the COLA plus multiplied that to one of the median hourly wages, took that solid and decided to give the solid number to everybody. Those on the higher pay scale will get a smaller percentage. Those on the lower end will get a higher percentage, but everybody gets the same amount, 56 cents. We can't do merit raises because we're government. So with that, we settled on 56 cents was the recommendation made by the county compensation board to the commission. So we have a sheet here with 20 cents or 56 cents per hour increase for all employees. There was some discussion last Monday about freezing wages. That would be only non-union employees because union are guaranteed. So what I want to hear from you guys is, what's your opinion? Some of you have taken on more work than you had last year to make up for lost personnel. That is a savings to the taxpayers. Do you feel you deserve a raise? Do you feel that a raise is important? Can you help educate any members of the public or the commission who may be of a different mind concerning the value of employees and what you do for this county and for the citizens? We had our argument here last Monday. We had a discussion with elected officials, which is a second subject. This is just the raise for all employees. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to say on that? Brenda?
Well, what I've been talking about is statutorily we're out of compliance as it is. If we do the 56 cent an hour raise across the board, we're gonna be even further out of compliance because of the way the statute's written, that they're a percentage of my employees.
You were here on Monday asking for 80 cents an hour more for elected officials. I hope I'm not hearing you argue against a 56 cent per hour raise for other employees.
I'm not. I'm just bringing it out. We're set by statute.
Okay,
They're
we've
a
addressed,
percent of what I need.
we've addressed this subject exhaustively over the last 2 years. This is a separate subject. We have to address your subject, and there's a meeting of the city council that may make all this a moot point coming up in the next couple of weeks. There's potential legislation that may make this a moot point in the next couple of months. We are working on it, but it has nothing to do with the decision or the discussion at hand concerning raises for Broadwater County employees. We're already out of compliance as of 2004. This raise certainly adds to that, but it does not put us out of compliance. It adds to the fact that we need to get it resolved. Whether that's done through a public safety commission, whether that's done through legislation, whether that's done through district court, we don't know yet. But it is not today's discussion. Mike, did you have any comments on employees and the value of employees?
Well, one thing is, like in my position, yearly, I save tens of thousands of dollars in contracted services that they were spending before I came here. And I'm doing the work of 3 people. I mean, realistically, they should have a full-time person over there. I have my own work over there, I do all the yard work, and do all this, and all the other roles. That's where I'm at.
Wendy?
Excuse me, if I may, I genuinely am an advocate of course, everybody getting the raise, and that's just because as you go throughout your daily work, you can go to every different department, and whether there's an influx of people in this county or an influx of demand from those people in this county, I can see like as a team, they all try extraordinarily hard to fulfill those needs, whether it's more demand or just more people. And from our perspective, I know, there's a lot of different factors involved from the county attorney's office, whether it's confidentiality of the information that we handle or just the information that we handle. But I'll tell you, I know, Mike does do the job of 3 different people. Whatever those demands are, whether it's updating our buildings or doing our maintenance. So if you're asking if I support it, absolutely. And on the higher end, as our budget allows, And I would hope that the people of our county would support it as well because of the services that we do provide them, from the property valuations that increase their property values to having resources to come to as a county and having the personalized service that we have here.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I guess I just want to say, I worked for the county for 18 years, and I've never got a raise, and my employees are like 5 cents and 10 cents just below me, so, yeah, I think I deserve a raise.
I saw another hand. Doug?
I just want to, that when you're looking at the difference between 20 cents and 56 cents, just the price of gas has went up $0.20 an hour would be $1.60 a day. I don't even think that would probably cover gas for a lot of the people going to work on the increase in gas, much less food and power and everything else that's went up. I don't think 20 cents is enough to even come close to covering the cost of living.
Gary?
Yeah, I have a question. I've watched with great interest the last year how various groups of employees in the county have done these comparative market analysis surveys and come in and basically you've rubber stamped these nice raises for them. My question to you is, those raises they already got, they're going to get another 56 cents on top of it?
Yes. What we did is market analysis, and we looked at a couple of different departments. One department had people who had been working for this county for 10 years, several employees, and a new employee was brought in years ago, before this commission, or before Elaine and I in that commission, and they were brought in as a brand new employee doing essentially the same job at $2 more per hour. That was the crux of that market adjustment, and it was the right thing to do. The other one is the Bakken. The Bakken is not just happening in eastern Montana. Anyone with a CDL is at a premium right now. We gave a market adjustment to the road crew and a couple years ago to the solid waste department because of those CDLs. It took Brian months, 3 months to get his CDL when he was hired. That means he couldn't do the work in that department because he didn't have that piece of paper because they were so backed up they couldn't get him the test. That was the right thing to do to keep people who are already trained working here. As far as planning, that was the other one. She got $1 per hour. She was making less than some of our clerks to be a department head and a county land use planner. We needed to address that. And she's still far below what other planners are making by about $8 an hour on average. Do we want to lose trained, good people to other counties that are right next door that pay tremendously more than us? No, people who are trained save us money. We get rid of people who are trained because we're trying to quote unquote save money. Then we have to train new people, we have to go through the learning curve. Now we need more people because you've got somebody going through the learning curve, so they can't get everything done that the first person was doing all on their own. These are the things we have to look at as managers. Those decisions were the right decisions to make, and those people shouldn't be penalized because they were underpaid for years by not getting a raise like everybody else. And we can't do merit raises, so it has to be everybody or nothing.
Okay, I got a very long answer to a very short question.
You did.
Now, I'm not denying any of those. I think they were well-deserved, and I think they're well-earned, and that's all well and dandy. But the elected officials went farther behind because we haven't come together as a comparative market study and shown you that maybe the elected officials ought to be getting a little bit more as well. I guess, you know, what's fair for Peter is fair for Paul, and I don't know. To me, are we talking about elected officials later, or?
You know what? We can talk about it now.
Okay, to me, it's downright embarrassing when I look at the survey that was brought out at the last salary commission meeting that showed Broadwater County elected officials the lowest. And not by just a little bit. Not by just a little bit. The lowest. Now, it's embarrassing to me to be an elected official in that spot. It's embarrassing to me as a taxpayer of Broadwater County to see that. And it's embarrassing to me that some people think that that is a real positive. That it's a ribbon, you know, a feather in our hat that we get by with paying our elected officials the least amount of anywhere else around. So, I just, I don't know. What's fair is fair, and, you know, it seems like people come in with this little survey thing, and all right, good and dandy. Elected officials have training as well. Elected officials have to run for their office every 4 years. That's not cheap. You have a filing fee, you have campaign stuff to do, and it's not cheap. But it seems like they're just going farther and farther in the hole. And before long, who can afford to run for an elected official in Broadwater County unless they have a retirement from somewhere else to come in with?
And is that what we want for our elected officials? Somebody who's got a retirement for someone out, from somewhere else, who's just here for the health insurance? Or just here to show up for a meeting once a week to just say no? Who isn't willing to do the homework? Who isn't willing to stand up for you guys? Some other counties have been grappling with this and have given raises to their elected officials, because what has happened is they have not had quality, educated, professional people stand up and run for the positions anymore. Well, you can imagine what happens. So, Judge, your comments do not fall into deaf ears. We did have a discussion on Monday with Val, Brenda, and Doug about that. It's not something.
The other thing I would like to say is, obviously, I'm not running again, so this affects me like for 6 months. But it does affect the future of Broadwater County, and I don't plan on leaving Broadwater County. And I want to see quality elected officials in the positions.
And if I may, Judge, we need to see quality elected officials in these positions. A gentleman in Helena once told me about 2 years ago that he hasn't seen a county plummet as quickly and as deeply as Broadwater County has the last 2 years. So this weighs heavily, Judge, not only on you, but on a number of us.
Thank you.
So, I saw another hand.
I just had a comment for Gary, and what Val, excuse me, what Val and Brenda and I came to talk to you on Monday. We did do a market adjustment evaluation to see what the elected officials in other counties were making compared to ours, and that's where we came up with the $2.40 an hour amount that we've been talking about in our compensation board for 2 months. So it has been looked at, but it's something we still need to keep in mind.
And I think one thing, before I take your comment, Linda, if I may, for the public who's here, at no time, even remotely, did any member of this commission or the compensation board consider adding to the tax rolls or the tax base for citizens. These monies for these raises, 100% are taken out of increased valuations or savings by department heads, by your good management. And I want that known by the public solidly. I do think, as far as the elected officials goes, there's going to have to be some amount of education of the public. There has been a vicious and destructive rumor mill in Broadwater County that is, its purpose is clear to me, and that is to destroy this county. There needs to be a series of articles, conversations with friends, at meetings, that helps to educate people as to what you guys do for the citizens. Linda.
This has been a real eye-opener for me, and I think I understand it yet. I have to admit, I worked for the federal government for many years, and I had a good job. And I can't believe that county employees do not have a structured pay base. The state does, the federal government does. I think I understand that you do not have grades and steps within those grades. To work for the government, the county government for 18 years and not get a raise, you're right, Gary, that's embarrassing. And a 50-cent raise, you know, I just said I had a good job.